Becca on. I am really excited to be back with another interview with an incredible woman from the world of natural stone. And today I'm here with Emily Guest. So Emily, would you just like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure, Becca. I am a apprentice stonemason. I've been doing it for about a year and a half. I'm currently working for Stonewest doing that. And I'm speaking to you from Building Crafts College, which is where I come for my block release every 5 weeks or so for 2 weeks and do banker masonry and theory. So yeah, that's where I am at the moment.
And I must add for anybody watching that it is about -4 degrees today, and Emily tells me it's very cold where she is, so hence the coat. So it's suddenly freezing cold. So without further ado, I thought we'll crack straight on. And the first question I've got, Emily, is who inspires you?
Yeah, so I might refer to, yeah, I did think about this. There is one person in particular, but I also would just like to start and say, I think anybody that really cares about what they do, I find inspiring. Doesn't matter what job you do, but people that want to work to master it, I find that motivating. And it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of inspiring for humanity as well. If people can take their little cog in the big wheel and just try and do the best they can at it. I really like that. And the perfect example of that to me is my mum, because she is self-taught upholsterer. She can bricklay, use a lathe. She replumbed her house. If she doesn't know how to do something, she'll just learn it and she'll do it herself. And that's my inspiration. She's brilliant at that.
I think you're so right. I think passion is catching, an enthusiasm for what you do. And I think if people can really be passionate and involved in what they do, you can't not help but be inspired by them. And
Yeah.
also your mum sounds pretty incredible. My mum is also my inspiration, but she can't do any of those things. So that's really, really cool. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah. There's a really interesting quote from one of my favourite pieces of, I suppose it's poetry, Desiderata, if you've heard of it.
Yeah, that's my mum's favourite poem.
Oh, well then. So yeah, it's helping many. So it's got a quote in it, so a part of it that says, keep interested in your own career. However humble, it's a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. And I think that's not to make you a workaholic. It's to make sure that you choose your career wisely, that it is something that you want to really, that you're genuinely into.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. And I think it's something I feel truly blessed with, the fact that I have found something I absolutely love. And it doesn't feel like a job, therefore. And I think that's something that, really motivates me.
Yeah.
Which actually brings me nicely on to the next question, which is what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
Yeah, one word, FOMO. So fear of missing out, for those that don't know. Yeah, if I skip a day because I'm ill or something, I can remember probably on one hand times when I've had to not be at school or college or work and just missing out on those conversations, a piece of information, because good conversations at work are kind of everything, and they happen spontaneously, and I just want to be there for it. I still remember missing one lecture at university, and it was about dicotyledons and monocotyledons, which is two different types of plant, super geeky, but I still think about that, and I still think how I never really got to grips with it. So yeah, FOMO.
I love that. And I love that it's kind of that thirst for knowledge that you have as well. I have to say, if I missed a lot more than one lecture in university, and I was more interested in the gossip that I missed out on. So kudos to you. I think that's incredible. And I think that obviously that thirst for knowledge is exactly what's brought you to stonemasonry, which is amazing. And so with stonemasonry in mind, but what do you think are the advantages of being a woman in the natural stone industry?
Yeah, big question. Well, I want to say at certain times of my cycle, I can sense the particles in the stone and where the shakes are. But I can't.
Oh, that would be.
Yeah, I know. I think fundamentally, I think there's no disadvantages or advantages, because I think it's been really good for me to actually see with my own eyes that I'm no different to the other people working on the site, which are predominantly male. Because there's small men, big men, all ages, all backgrounds, just like women. And I think that was a real revelation to me, like, oh, it really is, we're all the same and we can do all the same things. But I suppose it is different because of the imbalance at the moment. So the difference in the underrepresentation of women means that as a woman, especially on site, you can go on site and you're likely to be the only one or maybe one of a few. And I think the advantage is that you're bringing, well, firstly, like, you're bringing representation of half of the population of the world into that workplace that's not really had it before. So you're bound to bring something new and different because you've had different life experiences. And also, I think that as a woman, you can bring experiences to men that might never have worked with a woman. I've had many men say to me, oh, I've never been on a site with a woman. And they say it in quite a curious way. It's a new thing for them, just like it's a new thing for me. So I think that's a good.
I really agree with that. And it's something that's actually come out a lot when I've been chatting to people, actually, that it's not about advantages and disadvantages. It's about what we can all learn from each other. And certainly I've found working with three men, one of them obviously being my husband, I'm learning so much about the differences between how they might think about things, how we approach things, how different scenarios impact us, how we react to them. And we're so learning from each other. And I think that is what it's all about. It's about that balance. It's about what we can all gain. And at the end of the day, therefore, what the industry can gain from that. So yeah, I completely agree. I think that balance is really, really important. So what advice would you give to yourself 10 years ago, or less than 10 years ago? Because I'm sure 10 years ago you were probably still in high school.
That's very kind of you, Becca. Thank you. Yeah, I think that I would tell myself the one thing, there are many things, but I think the one thing that I would say is, like, listen to all of the people that have said to you, if you meditate every day or regularly, it will change your life. And I know that sounds really fantastical, but lots of people said it to me. I was like, yeah, I must get around to that. And then about a year ago, I started doing that, and it has solved so many things. It's really useful. And I think I would give myself that advice. Other than that, I'd say just try and have as much fun as you can.
I like that. I think meditation is something a lot of people hear about, want to do, and I think that's the thing. A lot of people want to do these things, and sometimes it's just doing it, just going ahead and doing it, giving it a go. And it, do you know what, I tried it and it didn't work for me, but there's other things that I've tried since that have worked. And you never know if you don't give it a go, do you?
No, and like fail loads of times. I mean, quite a lot of the time I'll sit there for 10 minutes and think about my shopping list or something really trivial that I don't need to think about. And then the alarm goes off, that the timer I set goes off. And I go, oh, well, maybe tomorrow. And then, one day it will work. And it just generally, just as a general pattern of my life, it has just helped a lot of things. Yeah.
Incredible. No wonder you're so chilled out.
It's a good show.
And so obviously, as a woman in the industry yourself, and kind of quite new and kind of upcoming in the industry, what advice would you give to other young women that are looking to come into the stone industry?
I'm going to steal someone else's advice, which is my gran's, who said, if first does not succeed, try again. And I'm sure she's taken that from somewhere else. It's very common saying, but it's so true. So I think understanding what you're doing your career for and making sure that you really believe in it and you've got real conviction about why you're doing it, because that is what will make you try again, because you will have to do that. It's not the people that you see succeed and they're really happy in their career. It's not because they just fluked it, I don't think. They honed it, they persevered. And I think success comes to those that are defiant, not those that are sort of lucky or gifted as a sort of birthright or something like that. I think it's just that resilience. And I'd say, yeah, choose well and keep trying.
I think that's really sound advice. I think something that I've definitely learned is that you're not going to get everything right every time. And it's definitely okay to fail. It's definitely okay to try things that don't work. You'll find your path eventually. But if you really want something, you will keep going. I mean, we were talking about running this just before we kind of recorded. And I had to remind myself that not every run is going to be the best run I've ever done. Today was a terrible run time-wise, but it was also -6 and I was wearing 5 layers of clothes. You're always going to be at your peak. You're not always going to wake up, go to work and have the most incredible day and change the world of natural stone. But you'll probably have done one little thing in that day that will chip away at those big things. And so just keep trying each time. And as long as you're trying your best, you'll get to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Advice. And so last but not least, and I love this question because I never know what people are going to say. What is the most memorable moment of your career thus far? Because I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come.
Yeah, okay. So I was trying to think of joyous, successful moments in my career. And I have had many, many triumphs, many times when I've learned a lot about myself. Some of the best ones when I stood up for a colleague, because in my previous life, working life, I was a manager, and things like that. Seeing that I had that sort of courage to stand up for people was quite good. So I'm not very good at confrontation. I had it in me. For someone else, fine. But I think the one is when I had a bit of a dark time, actually. I used to work for an accountancy firm and I had quite a high pressure job, but a lot of it was the bed that I made and I laid in it. I didn't take lunch breaks. I just took all the pressure on myself and I just wanted to do. And I always thought like, oh, if I keep working really, really hard, I'll get to the bottom of the to-do list. And I never did, because it was a to-do list that, if you're doing all right, the nature of the work is you just get given more. And so you have to set your own boundaries. And I wasn't very good at that. And I got to the point where we were in like a really busy tax season. I'd worked kind of 10 to 14-hour days for like 3 months. And I was working weekends as well. And we just got to the end of it and it was like, yay, we finished. We met this like deadline, and then something went wrong. Something like along the way had got dropped. And one of my senior managers like pointed it out, and it hit me so hard, that failure, it was so unreasonable for me to like dig myself out for that, because of all the other circumstances that I was and all of my team were dealing with at the time. But I took it away with me, and I remember going away to my friends and we stayed in a hotel for the weekend, had a really nice weekend away. It should have been really nice, but I remember just being empty. And that was not the worst rock bottom that anyone's ever reached, but for me, that was my limit. And I think it really changed me. It's like, you come down, you hit rock bottom, and then you start to change. And that sort of sent me on a 5-year trajectory to where I am now. I remember it just little changes, like I started taking lunch breaks and I started listening to music that I love. And I remembered all these things that I really used to enjoy. And it was kind of like I opened a little crack in the door and all this joy started coming back in. And I remembered all these things that I really liked that I was missing. And I just kept kind of searching the enjoyment, I think.
And that's, I think, something probably a lot of people can relate to. I think that kind of losing yourself is something we can all find happens to us along the way. And actually, joy is one of the things that I really try and seek in life. It's something that I've kind of had lots of people around me kind of, I was going to say drum into me, that sounds like kind of joy's been thrust upon me, but just the concept of joy and happiness. And actually, for me, if someone asks me what my life ambition is, it's just to be happy. And that's it, to allow and enable happiness into my day, and gratitude as well. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that as well. So thank you so much for sharing.
I think that's a fantastic aim.
So yeah, thank you so much, Emily, for your time this morning, for sharing all of those amazing insights as well. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. So thank you so much, and hopefully it warms up where you are today as well.
And to you, and thanks so much for having me and giving me this this opportunity. Thank you.
And we will be back soon with some more amazing women from the world of natural stone.